Have you ever just felt completely burnt out? You know that feeling, right? Like you're constantly pushing, hustling, forcing things to happen, and it's just exhausting. Well, what if there was a totally different way to build momentum? A way that actually energizes you instead of drains you? Let's dive into a framework that pretty much flips that whole script on its head.
This right here, this single idea, is really the heart of everything we're about to talk about. It's the entire foundation for a method called synergy. And the big idea is that you create incredible forward momentum by actually slowing down first and listening. I know it sounds completely backward, but the theory is that real sustainable power comes from alignment, not from brute force.
So, picture this. Forget those high-pressure, stressful business workshops you might be used to. The whole point of a space like this is to create a container where your nervous system can actually feel safe. Safe enough for you to envision your biggest, most expansive dreams without that constant low-level anxiety. It's all about building from a place of security, not from a place of stress.
Okay, so where do we even begin with this? The very first step is learning how to tune in to what's called your resonant self. Now, just think of this as your own internal compass. It's that part of you that already knows the way forward without needing some complicated 10-step plan to get there.
We have all been taught this model our entire lives, right? Strategy. It's always about asking, okay, what should I do to get what I want? It's all external, it's super linear, and let's be honest, it usually relies on just sheer force to make things happen. It really is the definition of pushing a giant rock uphill.
And here's where we can really see the difference. With synergy, instead of that linear force, it's this cyclical, resonance-based approach. We're shifting from chasing external numbers and metrics to actually listening to our internal signals. And the question itself changes from what should I do to a much, much more powerful one. Where am I already resourced? One of these paths we know leads straight to exhaustion. The other one? It's energizing. But, and this is a big but, it absolutely requires trust.
So, how do we actually tap into this internal wisdom? Well, the main tool is a ridiculously simple question you can ask your body before you make any choice. Does this decision, this path, this idea, does it make me feel expanded or does it make me feel contracted? You know that feeling of opening up versus tightening up? Your body knows the answer way before your mind does.
And this leads us to what is, I think, the core promise of this whole method. It's called the integrity thread. And it's basically a non-negotiable commitment you make to yourself. It says that every single action, every decision you make, must not require you to abandon your own internal state. No more self-betrayal just to hit some goal.
Once you start following that integrity thread, it naturally leads you to the next big shift. See, if you're committed to not abandoning yourself, you first have to get really clear on the self that you're so committed to. And this is what moves us away from focusing on what we want to do and puts all the focus on who we are devoted to becoming.
So the question is no longer what do I want to have, what do I want to achieve? It becomes who am I devoted to embodying? This isn't about acquiring things or ticking boxes. It's about unfolding the qualities that are already within you, things like courage or self-trust or your unique creative expression.
And this is why that shift is so incredibly powerful. According to this framework, your entire external reality, your business, your income, your relationships, it's all just an expression of your internal identity. So when you focus on expanding who you are, everything else in your life naturally expands right along with you. Which brings us to the central model of this whole thing, defining what's called your synergy field. You can think of this as the ultimate sweet spot. It's that magical place where your unique personal gifts align perfectly with what the world is actually asking for. Now, this isn't just about one thing. It's the powerful convergence, the overlap of three really distinct parts of who you are. So let's break down what each of those are. Okay, component number one is your identity. This is the bedrock. It's who you are at your core and who you're in the process of becoming. It's all about your unique gifts, your deepest values. You could even call it your unique medicine, that special contribution that only you can bring to the world. Second, we've got expression. And this isn't about what you think you're supposed to create. It's about how you naturally love to share yourself and your ideas with the world. What absolutely lights you up? What do you find yourself doing effortlessly? You know, the topics you could just talk about for hours? That is a huge clue to your creative truth. And the third circle, monetization, is what bridges your inner world with the outer world. This is where you get to ask, okay, given my identity and my natural expression, what real problems can I solve? What does the world genuinely need that I am uniquely equipped to provide? This is where your gifts meet actual market demand.
So, here it is, the million-dollar question. Where do all three of these circles, your identity, your expression, and your monetization, where do they all overlap? What exists in that magical intersection?
Well, that intersection is your synergy field. It's that sweet spot. It's the place where you are the most resourced, the most aligned, and ultimately the most impactful because you're not fighting against yourself anymore. You're just flowing with your own nature.
Now, to make all of this super practical, the Synergy process has one final tool. It's about creating a visual map to guide your journey forward, and it's called the North Star Vision Map.
This map has 4 key parts. It all starts with identity. Who are you being in this future? Then it moves to life. What does your day-to-day actually look and feel like? Then work. How is your synergy field being fully expressed in the world? And finally, legacy. What is the ripple effect you're creating right now, not just at the end of your life, but today?
And this is so important. You have to see this map not as another rigid to-do list that you have to achieve through force, but as an embodied living guide. It's a compass that just keeps you oriented towards your own personal resonant North Star. So, what does this all boil down to? When you put it all together, it's about this one fundamental shift, moving away from a model of leadership that's based on external force and pressure and stepping into one that is deeply rooted in your own internal alignment and coherence.
And ultimately, it just comes down to this. When you really learn to trust yourself, to trust your body's signals and your resonant field, progress stops being something you have to chase down. It just becomes a natural byproduct of your alignment.
Which leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question to take with you from all of this. Right now, in this very moment, what is your body telling you?